So let's go ahead with the today's agenda. So if we're talking about the day 6 agenda or the today's agenda, so we'll be starting with the data cleaning and pre-processing in R, which means how you can clean your data in and pre-process your data in R. Then we will be talking about the data visualization with ggplot2. Like if you see the job description of few companies, so you will find that in the data visualization topic they mention the ggplot2. So that is the power of ggplot2. You will find that most of the data visualization, in the job description, when it comes to data visualization, they mention few things like Tableau, Power BI, right? Plotly, like for Python. Like for R there is ggplot2, as well as the R shiny is there. That is nothing but the somewhat similar to the Flask in Python. If we're talking about the basic statistical concepts in R, so we'll also see these concepts, as well as we also see the advanced statistical concepts in R. Okay, like how you can implement the regression. Okay, that is, we can say that the and how we can find out the uh, the confidence interval, prediction intervals in R. So that we will gonna see in the today's session. Also we'll talk about the ANOVA, analysis of variance, and the non-parametric methods as well, and how you can go ahead with. And lastly we'll be talking about the time series analysis. Okay, like few who do those who don't know what is time series analysis is, basically in the time series analysis, okay, we have the data which is totally arranged in a timely manner, like a weekly data or monthly data or yearly data you will find. And we have some algorithms in time series itself, so you can apply those algorithm to go ahead with for the forecasting part, or in short you can say prediction part, right? So guys, let's go ahead with our agenda and explore this one by one, this all the topics. So guys, are you ready? Have you installed R Studio and R in your system? How many of you install R Studio and R in your system? So today we'll be working with the R in R Studio. So that's why we need R. As we know in like in the previous session, now we'll be using first dataset, which is nothing but the company dataset, and we'll be exploring that dataset, which means that we'll be cleaning that dataset, right? So let's go ahead. Like there are few steps to simply go ahead with that particular dataset. So like over here, like I can simply start writing the code, or in the first initially, if you don't know how to read the dataset, so you can simply use this the automatic option. So here you will see that in the R Studio there is import dataset option is there, like in the environment. If you see over here, see here we have a import dataset option. Now you can simply use the second option. Okay, like if we're talking about the CSV file, so we'll be able to read the CSV file by using this particular function, read underscore CSV, right? So now let's go and find out the data that we wanna basically insert. Now for that, what we can do is we can simply go over here in the day 6, and simply I'll be clicking to this particular data set, which is nothing but the company data set, and I simply click to open. And now here you will find that automatically, okay, my code is ready. Automatically my code is ready over here, and this is how my data looks like. If you see, this is how my data looks like. So here you will find that starting with the first column with the name, nothing but the account number, then we have the account name, status, gross income, then now wages, then complete and date. So here you can see that. Let's go and import the data set. So basically we clicked few these things. Okay, like first row as the name of the columns, like this. Okay, like we did few things. Now let's go and import it, and here you can see we got the data, okay, in the view. Now let's go over here, because okay, this is the initial step to read my data set. That's why we don't have any code over here. So we can simply copy this code from here just for you, because I'll be sharing this particular file with you, so you will understand all the things about the how you can read the data, how you can collect the data, right? So let us go ahead and read this particular data, right? So this is my the code for reading the data, and this is of simply, here you can see that the library, with the help of this particular library reader, okay, I simply able to read this particular data which is in my particular folder, right? Now what I can do is I can simply, okay, many times you will find that, okay, like lot of data, like almost all the data you will see that that is in my particular this particular column, which is nothing but the day 6 column. And here you will get the all the 4 data set. You will find that company data set, oscillation index, then we have the Titanic and WC80 data set we have, right? Now what we can do is we can simply put one thing over here, which is nothing but the set WD. So set WD is for the setting the working directory. Now here you can see I'm just setting my working directory over here in this particular folder, because each and every time I'll have to read the data from that particular from this particular path. So instead of adding this particular path, okay, like each and every time while we are reading the data, so instead of this we can simply use this one line of code for each and every time while we are reading the data set from this particular path. So what I can simply do is, okay, let's again clear this particular thing and again clear this environment as well. Okay, now here if you go and you just click to this set WD, just click anywhere on this particular line and simply go to the run. And here you can see, let me show you. Now we just able to change our working directory. So for that we can simply see the our current working directory by using get WD. Okay, by using get WD, just use control plus enter to run this particular line of code. Otherwise you can simply use this option as well. Now here you can see I just change my current working directory from any different working directory to this particular path. Means now this folder is my current working directory. So this folder is nothing but my this folder, and here you will find that all the data set, right, which we will be using for the particular in this particular session, right guys? Now let us go ahead, and as we know, let's go and read this particular library, which is nothing but the reader library, to read the data set. Second thing is that read the company's data set, right? This is my company's data set, and to see my company data set, what I can do is I can simply click to this particular line of code, which means view company's data set, or I can simply click to this option in the second window. If you see, like the company data set is there, total how many observations are there, 27 observations are there, and total 7 variables, which means total 7 columns are there, right? So let's click to this instead of going with this view code. So for that, okay, because like I'm showing you the multiple ways for doing this particular thing. So here you go. Now basically if you see, like as we discussed earlier, in my data set we have the total 7 variables, which means 7 columns we have. And if you see in my data set, there are few missing values are there. Okay, there are few missing values are there, NA values. So NA values are nothing but the missing values, right? Okay, so now simply we'll pre-process this all the data set. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll clean all the data set. Okay, so okay, that's why I'm showing you this data set frequently. Now let us go ahead and now starting by the initial state, or you can say that the initial exploration of your data. So like in the initial state, what are the different things you can do? You can go ahead to see your data, how your data looks like. So just by looking out the data, you can see that the many things you just notice. Okay, like the how many categorical variables are there. So if you see account number A, B, 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 C like this is a categorical variable. Account name is a categorical variable, means the text data you see. Status is categorical variable. Then we have the complete yes or no, not like this. See, this is again the categorical variable we have, right? This is a date time feature we have, like, so you will find that so many different things. So just by viewing the data, now after this, after viewing the data, so if you see that, we can simply go and find out the summary of my data set. Okay, we can simply go and find out the summary of my data set. So what I can do is I can simply go ahead with summary. Okay, I can simply go with summary. If you see, okay, just enter it, and in the summary just mention the data name, which is nothing but the company data set. So here if you find, okay, I got the data set with here one option. If you see, okay, like this is showing me all the data set, right? This is showing me all the data set. So let's go and click to this, and let's go and run this. Now if you see, right, we got the all the summary for this all the data set. How many columns are there in my data set? Total 7 column, isn't it? So here you see starting with the account number. Okay, because account number is nothing but the character or categorical data in short. So you will find that, see, because of the character, so it just show me the class and mode for this particular thing. And like it's not able to get any summary for from that particular categorical variable, because if you see in the summary, what are the different things we are calculating? Like we are calculating the mean, quartiles, median, maximum value, right? So these are the different things we are gonna find out by using the summary, right? So if the data is, you know the categorical, then we can't go ahead with, and we can't find out the mean for this particular data. Let's say account name, we can't find out the mean for this particular data, right? Okay, also for the status, we can't find out the status for this mean for this particular variable, right? But we can find out the mean for this particular gross income. We can find out the mean for particular this num wages, right? Right. So these are the different things we can do by using this particular simple line of code, which is nothing but the summary and our data set name inside it, right? So for that first three columns, if you see these, all these first three columns are nothing but the categorical. That's why you can see that the only characters are here. Now in the second thing, if you see that we have the gross income. Now basically minimum value for the gross income is going to be the one, maximum value is going to be a very high. Okay, like there is e raised to plus 13, which means that after this digits, okay, go after 30 digits. Okay, so 1450, then you will find that the around 9 and then you will find that that particular point, okay, or the decimal point you will see. So that is a thing, because this is a company's data set. So you will find that the like maybe the gross income for the companies may be in the billions, right? Then we have the wages. Okay, number of wages if you see. So here you can see that we have the first quartile, the minimum value is simply 0 we can say, and maximum quartile, maximum value is going to be the 6-digit number. Okay, so that is the thing. So if you see over here, how many NA values are there? How many NA values are there? Like let me show you over here. Okay, how many NA values are there? One value, right? So we can simply find out the is there any missing value or not by using the summary as well in RStudio. So let's go over here and see is there any missing values or not. So we were talking about this particular thing. Okay, this particular column. Okay, so here you can see that we have the missing values present. like how many NA values are there. So if we're talking about the different categorical columns, so we can't find out the missing values by using this particular line of code, which is nothing but the summary of the data set, right? So after understanding the summary, let us go ahead, okay, and see the structure of the data. So how you can see the structure of the data by using the structure method. Okay, just use the str to get the structure of your data. Okay, now if you see, this is my company data set. Let's double click to this, and here you can see, let's go and run this. Now basically we got the structure of the data. Okay, we got the structure of the data. So if you see that we have the structure, like we have the first few columns, which are nothing but the categorical columns, right? Then we have the two numerical columns we have, and then we also have the categorical column after that. Okay, so if we're talking about the names for those columns, so you will find that these are the names for these columns, and you will find that the, those columns which are categorical, so you will find that the columns character. Okay, and those columns which are nothing but the, the numerical one, you will find that the columns double, right? So that is a difference over here. Now after these, okay, let us go ahead and understand the further part of the data, right? So let's say if you wanted to find out the types of data structure in R. Okay, here you will find that the data structure, how you can see the data structure. Now if you wanted to find out the types of data structure, so you can simply go ahead with class, and you can use your company data set. Okay, and let's go and control plus enter. Now here you can see the type of your data frame is going to be the data frame. See, is going to be the data frame, because we imported this particular data frame, okay, from this particular CSV format. Okay, so basically here we got the data frame. Okay, like itself, the structure of this, the type of the data structure for this is going to be a data frame, right? After this, how to find out the shape of the data? Anyone anyone like, in Python, if we wanted to find out the shape of the data, simply we use the argument which is nothing but the our data frame dot shape, right? But here if you wanted to find out the dimension or shape of your data, so how you can find out? Yes, absolutely. So like, not the shape, but definitely dim. By using the dimension, we can simply go ahead and find out the shape of the data. If you wanted to go ahead with, find out the shape, okay, or the dimension of your data, you can simply use the dimension. Okay, so dim, you can simply say this. Let's go and run these, and here you can see, okay, like, for not for this, in the console you will find that, okay, this particular thing over here, guys. Like, this is nothing but the dimension of the data. So if you see that total, how many observations are there? So if you see, so there are total 22 observations are there, and here you will find that total 7 variables are there, and total 7 classes are there, right? Now after this, okay, uh, what are the different, the exploration, visual exploration you can do? Like, we can plot the histogram, right? We can plot the box plot, right? We can plot the bar plot, yes, and we can do so many different things, but like, we will see all those in the, in the data visualization using ggplot2. But for now, okay, we'll be talking about the, the few plots. So first, let's go and plot the histogram for this, okay, to show you. So here you can see that, okay, I'm just plotting the histogram. Hmm. Now I just wanted to go ahead with one simple column. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to go ahead with the, you know the gross income. So this is my code, and let's go and run this. See, in the gross income, you will find that the this is going to be the histogram. So if you see, if you wanted to zoom this particular thing, so you can see the your gross income like this. Okay, like for all the company, if you see, like most of the companies, okay, have the gross income is around, somewhere here. Okay, and for just few companies you will find that the gross income over here, right? This is nothing but the gross income for the companies, right? So if you wanted to understand, this is nothing but the frequency, which means how many companies, okay, having the gross income like this, how many companies having the gross income like this. So if you see the frequency for this particular, you know the bar, I can say, so here more than 20 companies you will find that the, having the gross income which is less, but only few companies which is having a gross income, okay, like the 14 digits, like in 40 digits, if you see. So that's how you can read this particular plot. Okay, now if you wanted to go ahead with the further plot, which is nothing but, let's say, box plot, so you can simply go ahead with, okay, box plot. And again you can use the company data set, simply use the dollar symbol to just find out the, to just take or extract any particular column. So here we'll go with the this particular column. Okay, so let's go and run these, and here you can see the box plot. It's like the very much in the one line, like if you see, because, okay, like if you see over here in my histogram in my previous plot, so here you can see that most of your data is like most of your company having a gross income is somewhere which is, very much close to, very much near to zero. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, like the four digits value, 5 digits value, 6 digit value, like this. Okay, if we're talking about the, our box plot, so you will find like this, just only one line. Because what are the different things we can find out from the box plot? Like as we saw, what are the different things we can find out? We can find out this multiple things. We can find out the minimum value, we can find out the first quartile, the median, we can find out the third quartile, and maximum value. Total 5 things we can just find out. Okay, now here if you see, because of the range is quite high, like if you, imagine the range for this particular thing. Okay, if you imagine the range, okay, starting with 0 to, there are, 5 digit value, 1 into e raised to 5, which is nothing but there is 5 digit value. So here if you see 2 into e raised to 5 like this, so which means that, okay, you will get the very very high value. Okay, so if you compare this range, so like let me like explain by drawing it. Okay, so let's say, okay, if you see this particular range starting with, let's say, 0. Okay, somewhere here we have the 0. So if you go ahead like this, so you will find that over here, okay, like 1 into e raised to 5 means 1. Okay, so fishing some issue, I guess. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, right? So here you will find that the 5 zeros are there, okay, after one. So that's why 1 into e raised to 5. Okay, this value is, okay, if you go ahead like this, so 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, like this up to so on. Okay, after so many digits, okay, after so many things, like somewhere here 1 into e raised to, okay, like here, like I am facing few some issues for drawing this. So what I can do is I can simply open the whiteboard, right? So simply open the whiteboard so I can explain this particular thing with you, because here you will see that the only a single line has a bar plot. Okay, and here you will find that the few points. Okay, this few points, anyone can tell me the, the interpretation or a few point, this point or this point somewhere here. If you see, these are nothing but the outliers. These are nothing but the outliers. Okay, so as I told you in the previous session, if you wanted to detect the outlier, you can simply plot the box plot and you will able to visualize are there any outlier in your particular column or not, right? So that's how you can see. Mm, okay. Okay, now here you can see, okay, what is the common shape for the box plot? Either if you see the box plot like this, okay, if you see, okay, the box plot like this, right? This is my box plot and this is my, minimum value, you can say. This is my minimum value, this is my maximum value. Okay, if you see, this is my, okay, this particular thing, you can say this is my first quartile, this is my median, or you can say that the second quartile, right? And here you will see that the Q3, which is nothing but the third quartile. So if you're talking about the Q1, so you will find that the 25th percent observation, which means that from here, from this minimum point, you will find that how many observations are there. So 25% observations in this particular region, in this particular region. Okay. Then next 25% observation in this particular region, if you see, right? So that is why you will see that this is also known as a 50% or the Q2. Okay, and the next 25% observation in this particular region, that is nothing but the Q3. So that's why we also say it like 75th percent observation over. And finally, if you see over here, so you will see that the next 25%, this is for the normal range, right? This is for the normal range. Sometimes you might get the data, okay, like this. Okay, somewhere here you will find that the few data points, okay, and these data points which are nothing but the outlier, okay, which are nothing but the outlier, if you see. So in our case, okay, because of the range is quite high, okay, like let's say if we have the range starting with the 0, and then you will find that, okay, let me, okay, so here after this, if you see, we got the, let's say, 10,000. Okay, then if you see, go over here, you will find that the, you know the 1 lakh, right? After this, if you go over here, you will find that the values in, billion. If you see over here, so you will find that the values in, okay, so if you see the values is in billion, okay, like say, let's say 13, 1 into e raised to 13, which means that there are 13 zeros are there. Okay, so you will see that the values which are in billions, right? So if most of the, the gross income for the companies, okay, let's say will be like this, okay, that doesn't matter, because if you go ahead with the, the range for these, so you will find that this particular range is very high range. Okay, only few company you will find that the 2 3 companies, okay, over here. Okay, like we are talking about the Fang, and now we are talking about the Mang, right? The Meta is there, we have the Apple, Google is there, right? Microsoft is there, right? So these are the few companies you will find that the, if you see the revenue of this company, income of this company, you will find that the, this, the income for this particular company is very high. Okay, so if you combine the, the almost 80 or 90% company, rest of the company, you will see that the revenue is again high of this company, this 4 5 companies. So you will see that the few companies which are over here, few companies which are over here, those are, we can say that the startups and all, right? So that is the thing. So if you're trying to plot the box plot for this particular range, so just imagine this is my 0 and this is my somewhere here 1 plus or the 1 into e raised to 13. Okay, so normal range for this, because from this particular histogram, okay, if you see the histogram, okay, if you see the histogram, you will find that the only few companies which are there, and how many, like one or two, but most of the companies like 21 20 around companies which are over here in this particular region, right? So for that, okay, if you plot the box plot, so you will see the box plot like this, because the range is quite high. Range is quite high. If you plot the box plot in this particular region, okay, for this particular 4 5 digits, so you will see the box plot like this. Okay, you will see the box plot like this. If you're talking about only this much range, let's say only this much range, okay, you will see the box plot like this. But for full range, you will see the box plot like only one line, because this total box plot, okay, like the, if the maximum value, let's say, is 1 lakh, okay, but if you're talking about the maximum value for this particular range in billions, okay, so 1 lakh is like nothing in front of this big value, right? So that's why you will see the box plot like this, and you will see the, the values which are somewhere here. So those value, if you see, okay, like this particular value, if you see, so these values, okay, which are nothing but the outliers, if you see, right? So that's how you can identify the outliers. Understood, guys? Okay, so that's how you can just go ahead with and just find out the, the box plot, and try to understand are there any outliers or not, okay, the range for the data set and all, right? Now let's go ahead and the fix the errors that we have in my data set. So error is nothing but the, let's say, the missing values, and or like the missing values are nothing but the errors. Okay, the errors either made by the machine or the humans. Okay, because let's say if you hired few people for, data entry kind of thing, so then you will find that, okay, like for humans error is always there, if you see. So like there might be some mistakes while, entering the data. So that's why you will see that the few data set which are few values in the data set which are missing. Okay, that is also nothing but the missing values, we can say. Now that is nothing but the error in your data, right? So let's go ahead and deal with those, right? Just find out the how many missing values are there, okay, and how to deal with that. Okay, now as we know in Python, okay, like how we just find out the missing value is null method is there, right? We just type this particular line of code, and what is that? That is my data df dot is null. Okay, that is the code, okay, that we use to write in the, you know yes, is null or is na, right? Is null dot sum. We are just finding out the like the, is there any missing value or the null values, okay, column wise. That's why I added over here is sum. Like if you wanted to go ahead and simply check the sum of missing values, okay, in this particular data set, so you can simply apply the sum again. Okay, so for that you will have to use this particular term sum, okay, and you can simply add this particular again. Okay, for this particular all the time you can simply add the sum over here. Okay, or not like this, because this is the, R studio, you can simply use the sum like this. Okay, you can use the sum like this. Okay, but here in R studio, what you can do is you can simply use the is dot na. Okay, so here if you see, okay, you can simply use this particular, which means that, okay, in this particular option, okay, if I, put my cursor to this particular option, you will see that why we are using this particular, line of code. So basically, if in my data frame, if few values which are not available, also missing values we can say. So to find out those, we can simply this particular line of code, right? So that's why here you can see, if you wanted to go ahead with the next, so you can see that the next thing, okay, see next thing, again the same. If you go ahead with this, you can see, right? If you go ahead with this, you will get the, is there any missing values which is, like, which is there in the date time classes, which means this particular column. If you see, this is my column date time, right? So for now we can simply go ahead with is dot na, and I can simply put my company's data, okay, and let's go and run this. Okay, this is my company's data set. Now here you can see the option, okay. Now after this, let's go and run this, okay. Now basically if you see over here, okay, so like you will find that the false and true values are there. Okay, we got the values which are nothing but the logical, or you can simply say that we got the logical data frame now. Okay, why we are checking that, okay, like, is there any null value present in my data set? So not the count, not the sum, for that. So for that, so you will see that the false, 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 which means that false means yes, there are no value for this, there is no missing value, this value is something which is there, okay, which is physically present in the data set. But if you talk about this true value, which means that yes, there is missing values. So you can see that in the 15th row, okay, like in the third column, you will see that the true value is there. So you can recheck over here, okay, like in the, in the 15th row, you will see that in the third row, you will see that the na value is there. So that's why I got the, the true value over here, okay. That is the thing over here. Now let us go over here. See, I just created the code over here, but not here, because I'll have to share this particular code with you now. So that's why I'm just copying this particular code. So you can, after you can use this particular code to hands on, right? Now, okay, we got this particular data set, but from this, if let's say if our data is quite big, so we can't handle this particular data, we can't just manually go and check false, false, true, false, true, false, true, we can't check that, right? So for that, we can simply go ahead over here and we can find out the, you know the sum for this, like for our each column we can simply say. So for that, we can simply use the s, how many missing values are there in each columns. That's why I'll be going with the s apply method, which is nothing but the s apply. And I can simply use my company name, okay, see my company data set, if you see. And here I'll be applying one function on it, okay, which is nothing but the, for that I'll have to create the function, okay, of, you can simply say of x, like, and then I'll be using the sum dot, okay, is dot na, and in the bracket simply apply it on each and every column in my this particular data set, right? So let us go and run this, and here you go. Like if you see, okay, I apply the s apply function, okay, or the supply, you can see, okay, on my company's data set, okay, and I created the one function which is a very small function, okay, and in that function what I'm doing, I'm just finding out the sum of how many null values which are present in my each column, okay, which is there in my data set. Now in the account number, okay, we don't have any null value. In the account name, we also don't have any null value. In the status, you will find that the four missing values. In the gross income, you will find that the zero null value or the missing value. In the num wages, you will find that the one missing values. Then for complete and for date, we don't have any missing value, right? Now after this, okay, like if we have the missing values, okay, so what we can simply do is, okay, like we can simply, there are multiple ways to handle the missing values. Okay, and what are those ways? Like, let's say if you have the missing values, so like if your data, like if your data is going to be it's not, see basically here if you see, this is the function of x. Okay, this is the function of x I'm applying on my data set, which is company's data set. So basically what I'm taking the sum, okay, of my all the, like like the missing values in my each column, and we are just finding out the sum for this particular data set. That's why I applied this function of x on my this particular data set. Okay, so it is not applying on this total data set, it is applying on each and every column inside the data set, right? Okay, now after this, okay, like there are multiple ways to handle the missing values, right? So whether you can simply ignore that missing value, so for that we can simply drop this particular missing value, right? Yes, x is nothing but the each and every column, so that's why you will see that the each and every column name and how many missing values are there in terms of sum, right? How many missing values are there? So if you see that the missing values, okay, like the only two columns, you will find that the missing value is present, right? Okay, now if we, like if we are dealing with the missing values, so there are the, you know, different ways to handle that particular missing values. One simple way to handle that particular missing value is to drop that particular missing values. Okay, but if you see my data set is very small over here. Okay, only 22 data points are there. Okay, right? So what I can do is, okay, I can simply go with my another way. Like I can find out the, you know, the either the mean. Okay, if my data set, okay, is the, you know, the numeric, we can simply find out the mean. Okay, and we are just try to find out the yes. Okay, s apply is nothing but just apply it on my, you know, the data set which is there, right? So that's why I use the s apply. Okay, so like we can, you know, replace those missing values by mean, median, mode, depending upon our type of data set, whether our data set is numeric or whether our data set is, you know, the categorical. So if the data set is categorical, we can simply put the, you know, or the replace those missing values by using the mode. Okay, so let me, you know, okay, let me show you the different, the statistical terms that we saw in the previously, okay, we saw previously as well, but few terms which are totally new, like mode, right? So as we know, mean is nothing but the average value. Let's say we have the data, let's say, okay, any data, let's say from 1 to, let's say, 100. Okay, if you wanted to find out the mean, we can simply go ahead and we can use the sum of x divided by n. So whatever the sum it is, okay, from 1 plus 2 plus, you will find that the 100, okay, divided by the 100 length of the all the data, you will find that the 100 data points are there. So that is nothing but the mean. If we're talking about the median, what is median? Like I am saying 50%, so which means that this is exactly my middle value, right? Middle value or middle number, you can simply say, right? So here my median is going to be 50, a center number, right? If we're talking about the mode, now what is mode? Highest frequency, right? A repeated occurrence, maximum number of time, if that particular value, okay, like occurred repeatedly, so we can say that that is nothing but the mode. Okay, that is not the highest value, we can say the, you know, maximum occurrence is there, or, you know, frequently occurred value, right? So that is nothing but my mode. Let's say in my this particular data set, like this is a 1 to 100 data set, so basically this data set is basically dealing with this. So if we're talking about the mode, so let's say if you have the data like this, 1 2 3 4, then we have 1 4 2 1 1 4, like this. So here you will find that, okay, the highest number of time one value is repeated in my data set, if you see, right? So that is nothing but my mode, right? That is nothing but my mode. Okay, maximum number of time any particular value repeated. Okay, so maximum repeated value in my data set. And why I am using the mode over here? Because if you see this term 1 2 3, which means that I'll be using these for categorical data, not for numeric data, because for numeric we have the mean or median, right? Now why mean and why median, when to choose mean and when to go ahead with the median? So for that, here if you see that, let's say if we have the data like this 1 2 3 4 5 and we have the data 100. Okay, so for this particular scenario, okay, like whether to go with the mean or median. So in that scenario, we'll have to check, are there any outlier present in my data set or not, right? So if let's say this 100 is the outlier in my data set, because if you see the common range or the normal range of my data set is going to be 1 to 5, and this value is very much bigger. So that is nothing but the outlier present. So at that time you can use the median, because if you go ahead with the mean, so you will find that the value of mean is going to be the 100 plus, right, then 1 plus 2 up to so on, okay, plus 5. So tell me the value of mean for this, okay, divided by 6. Okay, okay, so here if you see 115 divided by 6, okay, so total I can say that around 19 point something, if I'm not wrong, I guess 19 point something, right? So if we see that, okay, the normal range for this particular data is going to be the 1 to 5, 1 to 5, right? So if we have the outlier, so you will find that median is not affected, because you will see that median is this three value is there. If we go at the normal range for this particular data, again if we add this particular value, again also you will find that median is not affected, median is just 3.5. So you will see that it just very much less affected, right? You see, as compared to these, so if you talk about this 3.5 and 19, so which one is the, the best one? 3.5 is best one for this particular data. If we're talking about, let's say we have the data 1 2, okay, like this 3 4 5, then in that case if there are no missing, there are no outlier present in my data set, you can simply go ahead with this and find out the mean and add those mean values, okay, instead of missing values, which mean the NA value you can simply see, okay, right? So this is just the calculation. If you see, okay, like if you see that the 5, okay, 5, like if you calculate this, if you find out the sum for this, so the sum for this is going to be the, the 6 plus 9 is going to be the 15. So 100 plus 15 is going to be the 115, not the 108. Okay, these dot dots are nothing but add the 3 and 4 values too, because I am just finding out the sum for all this value 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 100. Okay, now, okay, that is the thing. Okay, now the second thing, as I told you, you can simply and go and drop those values, right? You can simply go and drop those values, right? So for dropping, okay, because this is just the, pre-processing, I'm showing you how you can clean the data. So I'm trying to cover all the methods which are there, right? All the methods which are there. So here, okay, I'll show you how you can, go ahead and find out the mean for that, right? How you can go ahead and find out the mean for that. So let's say, let's go and find out the mean for that, because if you see, this is nothing but the the status. So status is going to be the the categorical one. Okay, so you can find out the, okay, we can simply find out the mean for this particular column, right? So to find out the mean, we can simply use this mean, because there is only one missing value present, right? So mean of our the company data set, right? Dollar my this part this particular column, right? And here, as we know, there is one missing value present, right? There is one missing value. So if I added this particular missing value, okay, okay let's say if I have the the value like this 1 2, then we have the missing values, and okay 4 5. So if I include this particular missing value, because this value is not present, but my columns, how many length of the column is nothing but the 5, right? Sorry, length of the row is going to be the 5, which means 5 values are there. Yes, there is one missing value, but total values are 5, right? So while we are finding out the mean, so it will just add this particular value, which means 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus divided by 5. So which means that our mean is affected by this one addition 4 plus 5. So for this one added value, okay, you know that is basically affected my mean, my final value, right? But if you remove this particular thing, so my mean is not affected by this, because you will see that the 1 plus 4 plus 5. So according to the definition, you will find that there are four values, and length of these four values, which is nothing but the 4, and you can simply find out the mean for this now, right? So for this in R, we can simply use the you know the na dot remove, which means rm. Okay, just use this, and that is nothing but the true, right? Enter this and simply find out the mean for this. So mean for this is going to be the this particular value, which is nothing but the 21,608.52. Okay, that's how you can find out the mean for this. Now, as I mentioned, the second thing, like if there is a data, like if there are like there is a missing value present in your data, so how you can do this, how you can drop the data, how you can handle that particular missing value in your data set. So what you can do is you can simply go ahead and you can use the omit method, right? The na dot omit, which means that just omit those all the missing values which are present in your data set. Okay, so how you can omit those data set? You can simply go over here. Okay, you can simply go over here, you can simply use my na values, which means then the missing values, and use the omit. Okay, so here you can see that the omit function is there, which is already there. Just after writing few letters for this particular function, you will get the function, just enter it, and you will see that the you just like RStudio automatically completed your code. And now here you can use your data set name. So simply let's say if I go with this particular term, okay, if I go with this particular term, which means that I'm removing each and every missing value in my data set. Okay, so for that, let me show you. Okay, and I'll go ahead with the next term as well. Okay, so here I just omitted all the data set. If you see, right, uh, the missing values, those are present in my data set, right? So here if you see, let me just go and check the how many missing values now which are present. Like for that, I'll have to uh, name this particular data. So let's say this is my data. Okay, and let's go and run this. Okay, and now I can simply apply this particular code on this particular data set. Now the data set is nothing but the data instead of company's data. Okay, now here if you see, I can simply go ahead and run this. Now you can see that I just simply removed all the missing values. Okay, just simply removed all the missing values in simple words, right? So basically, okay, this is the one way you can just simply go and drop the your missing values. So let us go. We need our data, the original data. So this is my original data. Okay, because if you see now, we just created the two different data set, company data and my data only. Okay, that is a data. In the data you will find that there are no missing value present. Okay, now if you see, okay, now after that, after this particular line of code, okay, now there is no missing value in my data. If we use the data, if we use the company data, we have the missing values over in this particular data set, because total how many observations are there? 22 observations are there, right? Now there is another method you can do. You can simply go ahead with again the same na.omit, and you can use your company data, right? This is my company data, and whichever columns missing value you want to remove or omit, you can simply select that particular column name. Okay, you can select that particular column. Okay, let's say I just wanted to go ahead and remove this particular thing. So what I can do is I can simply use this. Okay, and here if you see, okay, now I just omitted the one particular value from it. Okay, no, in my status, okay, I guess there are four missing values. So for that, what I can do is I can simply just check, right? Sum is dot na, and in that I can simply add the the column name. Okay, dollar my status. Okay, that we used. Now here you can see that we have the four missing values, I guess. Okay, now here if you see, we'll have to again, okay, we'll have to check, we'll have to add the data one name for this particular data, and then we can simply check this. Okay, now for that, let me go and run this, and here you can now see, instead of this, okay, instead of this, we can simply use the data. Okay, so we can simply use the data. Now basically, I guess data is having only one, so no issue with this dollar, because if you see in the data, okay, right, not the data, it's data one, right? So if you see is in the data, we don't have any column, because you will see that data is the only single column we have, okay, in my data set, okay, in my data one. So let's go and run, and now here you can see that now there are no missing values, zero value is there. Okay, which means that we just omitted all the missing values which are present in that particular data, right? So that's how you can go ahead with, right? Then if you wanted to find out the median, right? So median, how we can find out the median over here? So we can simply use this, okay, median, and my any particular data set. Let's say I just wanted to find out the median of uh, this particular, you know, this numerical column. Okay, now which, now let's go and here, if you see that, okay, median for this is na. Right, that's cool. Like if we see, let's go and use this, no, not this, I guess. Gross income, and let me go and run this. Yes, you will find that the median over here. Okay, because you will find that there are no missing values which are present in that data set, right? So for that, okay, you can simply find out the median for this. Okay, because there are no missing value present in the data set. First you will have to remove the missing value, then you can simply use this median. Okay, and you can go ahead with your further process, right? These are the few different things you can do with your data, okay, that I'm showing you, which is nothing but a data cleaning steps. Okay, there are number of you know methods, okay, depending upon your data. Okay, you can go ahead and clean your data. This is totally depends on your data. You will have to go and manually check the the what are the different things your data have or not. Okay, like outliers you can check, you can check the missing value, you can go ahead with the the different ranges of your data. Okay, whether your data is a categorical feature or numerical feature depends on as well, you can go ahead with, right? Okay, now after this guys, next thing is to find out the duplicates. Okay, next thing is to find out the duplicate. So here, yes, and that we want, cleaning the data is basically affected the main file, and that we want because we are cleaning the data. Okay, so which means that basically we are removing the errors from the data set. Okay, and that is our main purpose. Okay, for our data science project, let's say, to like our data science project is to build the dashboards. Okay, find out the insights from that particular data, right? So at that time, okay, the cleaning the data is a the big thing we can say. What is the difference between company's data set and data? So basically there is just the, if you see, I use this particular company's data to read my original data set, right? And if you see the data, so there are no missing value present in your data. If you wanted to go ahead with the same name, like if you wanted to go ahead with the same name, I can simply put the same name too. Okay, this is just for your reference. Okay, just to understand, this is just for your reference. I can apply the changes on my original data set as well as my company data set. Now just put the name, the company data set, and let's run this. Now here you will see that, okay, initially now there are 22 observations are there. Now let me go and run this particular cell. Okay, now you can see that only 18 observations are there, right? Only 18 observations are there. So basically my goal over here is to show you how you can make the changes in your company data set, because we are using the company data set and we are applying the different kind of methods on my company data sets, right? So that's why, okay, I just create the one new data set with the name data only, right? So basically if you see, the only difference between the company data set and data is nothing but, in the company data set, that data set is your raw data set, which is not the clean data set, and you're in the company you will find that at least there are no missing values, right? At least there are no missing values in your data. So that is just the difference. Okay, you can even go ahead and you can update the your original data as well. Okay, but here my intention to show you the how you can apply the different things on your data, right? Now how you can find out the duplicate data set. Okay, how you can find out the duplicate data set? So for that, for finding out the duplicate data sets, any idea for this? So if you wanted to find out the duplicate, so you can simply see that just put any, and you will see that the many different functions automatically pop up. So we'll be using any duplicated for this. Okay, and we'll be adding just the name of my data set, company's data set. Okay, so let's go and run this. You will find that there are only two values which are duplicated values, right? There are only two values which are duplicated values, right? Now you can go ahead with the different things as well. Okay, you can go ahead with the different things as well. You can use the, you can simply use the duplicated as well. Okay, and you can use the company data set. Let's go and run this, and here you can see we got the output in terms of true false logical output we got, right? We got the output in the logical manner, right? Or okay, like if you just, if you just wanna remove the duplicates from your data set, and you wanna the data set and in that data set only unique values are there. So how you can do this? You can simply, okay, go ahead with your either your original data name, or like I did before, I can simply use any other data name. Let's say my df data frame, I can simply go with this df. Okay, so why I am creating this, this is just the name of the data set. Okay, nothing else. Okay, so I want my new data set, okay, which is having only unique values, okay, of my previous data set. So what I can do is I can simply use this, and I can use the unique method is there, right? So just by using unique method, I'll be adding my company's data set over here. See, and just use the control plus enter to run, and now here you can see this is my data frame. If you see, so basically I remove the duplicates from my data as well. Okay, I remove the duplicates from my data as well. Now you will see that basically there are two duplicated values, right? So we just remove this. Now the value is going to be the 16 because there are two duplicate values. Okay, so from overall 18 observations, if we remove the two duplicates, so basically we'll get the data of 16 observations, right? So that is the thing.